So let's take a look at how to write the three programs that you were assigned concerning slices. So in the first one, you were given a phrase and you were asked to extract two words from that phrase and then concatenate them, which means just combine them together into a single string. And the words we were to take out were country and land. And so country starts at, so M has an index of 0, Y is 1, space is 2. Countries, the letter C is then index 3. There are 7 letters in country, so we know that therefore our slice has to be phrase and then in square brackets 3:10. And 10 is the index of the space here after country, which is the first character that we do not want to include. So again, the 10 minus 3 is 7, which also tells us how many letters we have sliced from the larger phrase. Okay, and then we do the same thing with land, which starts at 30, and the space after land is 34, so we go 30:34. 34 minus 30 is 4, so that'll give us 4 characters, which is what we want. And so then we create my string equals phrase 3:10 plus phrase 30:34, and then we want Python to output this, so we have the print my string. Now I could have just had print and then this phrase 310 plus phrase 30:34, but I just chose to do it in the form of a variable. The reason sometimes I'll do it in some extra steps is because that often makes it easier to debug. And that way, for example, if I was having an issue, I could have asked Python to print out the content of my string to make sure that it contains what I hope it contains. Or if I'd had a variable I was using along the way, I could print out the results of the value of that variable, and that can help me debug. Okay, in the second case, we were to check if a word is a palindrome, which means that it's spelled the same forward and backwards. So we first use an input to gather the word from the user and store it in the variable word. Then I created a new variable, word reverse, word rev, and that is equal to word, so starting at -1, index -1, which is the last character of the word, and then really what I have after the first colon is nothing. And what that tells it to do is to keep going until as far as it can go. But in this case, I want it to go in the reverse direction, one letter at a time. So I have to have this third item here, which is the -1, which is the step number. So word -1 colon and then just a blank, or I could have put the colons together like this. And then as a third entry, -1, which tells it as the step number that we want it to go back one step at a time. And then if the two are equal to each other, and again, I have to use 2 equal signs to denote equality. When I'm using 1 equal sign, Python's looking for a variable assignment, and so it's going to get confused if you just have if word rev equals word. So then I have it print your word is a palindrome or your word's not a palindrome, depending on the outcome. Okay, last one, we have to figure out, we have to have the Python print either the middle 2 letters if it's an even number of letters in the word, or the middle letter if it's an odd number. So the first thing we do again is use input to gather the information from the user, and we store it in a variable called myword. Then I create a variable which is equal to the integer of the length of my word divided by 2. Okay, so a couple things. When you do any division operation, even if you're dividing, let's say, the integer 8 by the integer 2, Python will automatically make the result of that a float. And we need to convert it back into an integer. So that's what we do here. Now notice that I didn't first figure out if it's odd or even here. So for example, if my word has 7 characters in it, then what's going to happen is I'm going to get my word divided by 2, which is 3.5. And then when I take the integer of that, I'm just going to get 3. And that's actually the exact index number that I want for the index of the middle character if it's an odd number of characters. So I can kind of do a lot in that one step. Then this is checking to see if when I take the length of my word and I divide it by 2, if the remainder is 0, well then it has an even number. And so then I print my word and then square brackets. Let me put this on one line here. My word, and then len word -1 colon len word +1, and that'll give me the two that I need. So for example, if my word has 8 characters, then when I divide my word, len word, the variable is going to have the number 4 in it. But I want 3 colon 5. So then I would do len word -1 colon len word +1. If it's an even number else, which would mean it's an odd number of letters in the word, I would have print and then my word and then just len word. I don't need a slice, I just need one index number, and that index number would be whatever is in len word. So when we run these, it prints country land. It then asks me for a word to check, so I'll do, let's say, a man. No, I won't do one. I'll do one that's exactly right. I'll do auto. Yes, the word is a palindrome. Then it's running to the next one, and I'm going to enter the word, let's say, California, which has 8 letters or 10 letters, and it picked out the middle two, F and O. So I run it again, country land again, and now I'm going to pick another word that's not a palindrome, and then I'll pick something that has an odd number of letters, say Arizona, which has 7 letters, and it gives me Z.